And then, everything because we get done here about 10 minutes before the game actually gets underway.
And they need time to do the anthem, the coin flip, all that stuff.
It's a whole what do you do, right?
It's like a 103 or 105
They're better than the NBA are when it comes to that stuff. But
tip-offs at 7. Meanwhile, the networks don't get you tip-offs actually not until like 7:15.
So I heard this clip, though, from Shedeur, and it happened right before the game got underway, and we'll obviously comment on what happened after the game as well. But when I heard this clip, I want to share my reaction, and I want to hear what you thought as well.
What do you hope to show against this Raiders defense, your teammates, yourself, and these Browns fans with their play today?
I'm who they've been looking for.
When he said that, I almost swerved off the road. And the idea that I loved it so much, and the idea that I had been waiting, we all had been waiting, not since Baker, Reagan, Mayfield, have you seen a Browns quarterback exude that much confidence, that borderline arrogance, dare I say.
I know.
But I loved it. I loved every second of it. That's a guy right there that believes in himself in a way that I believe in him, and I loved every bit of that because it's part of the intrigue, and it's part of the fascination, but it's also part of the reason why I feel like if I want to take you inside the Shedeur Sanders fan mind, it's that right there, that unwavering belief in himself that everything's going to be all right, nothing bad is going to happen, I got this, I'm cool, calm, I'll bet on myself. If you don't want to bet on me, I'll bet on myself. And this is the type of stuff that I really do think is infectious when it comes to these players.
Yeah.
Like, they relate to this stuff. You want your quarterback, your QB1, you want your guy to be feeling this way before he goes into a game. There had to have been a bunch of people listening that said, oh no, I can't believe he said that. He's writing checks his mouth can't cash. And then you watched what happened. And when you can back it up the way that he does, I just think that's awesome.
When he said that was my first thought. Great soundbite, but man, if he goes out there and lays an egg, that's going to come back.
But people like that they didn't even conceive the possibility that laying an egg was on the table. He didn't even conceive it. I mean, it was
you have to understand, I have watched a lot of rookie quarterbacks first starts with the Cleveland Browns, and I was like, oh boy, he really set the bar.
But you never heard Dylan Gabriel go into his start saying, I'm who they've been looking for.
I know.
Like, there's a confidence attached to making that statement that I understood it. In that moment, I thought to myself, it's the reason why I've only ever backed a couple quarterbacks in life, Baker being one, Shedeur being the other. Both of them exuded this mentality that Shedeur has, and the belief in himself that he has, and I'm going to make this successful. To hell or high water, I'm going to make this work. There's not another option. And this is the one game he's got, because, Daryl, we all know, if that game stunk and he stunk up the joint, Dylan Gabriel was named the quarterback for San Francisco today. He had to make it all work, and there's people that thrive under this type of setting. He's one of them. Not a doubt in my mind yesterday was going to go the way that it did, and it's partly because he's the same guy that would have the stones to make that type of statement in that moment when 99.9% of people are going, oh, no. Oh, you can't possibly say that.
And by the way,
you can't possibly say that. Shedeur is saying, watch me.
It was a walk-off line, too, because he said it, and he turned and walked away, smiling.
Because of course he did. Because in his mind, and he talked about it after the game, the idea that he'd played out this game already in his head, hey, it wasn't going to fail. I've already done this game. I was doing this game Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mentally have played this game already. It wasn't going to fail. There's so much I love about that clip that I think so many people that are listening right now just don't understand why I love that the way that I did. So I'm trying to convey it because I'm not on an island. I know other people heard that and loved it as well, but there's just a mentality. We talk about built different all the time.
Yes.
It's such an athlete cliche, built different. Oh, I'm built different. Shedeur's built different. You don't hear quarterbacks go into that game with that pressure, with that bad offensive line, with that bad receiving core, all that.
And his dad up in a suite.
All that stacked against him. You don't hear people come into it that way, but he knew.
Yeah.
He knew.
Good. I mean, look, good for him. Good for him. And you're right. You have to have that mentality. And it does come off a lot. It can come off at times the wrong way. But when I heard it, I didn't view it as a negative. I was just like, I've seen 13 of these. This is the 13th one I'm going to see. None of them have gone well.
Well, you probably thought to yourself, I can't believe he just said that.
Yeah, I did.
That's the point.
And then he went out and played as well as he did. He hit that throw to Isaiah Bond, and then they showed, and Miles, his eyes got real big and smile. I'm like, oh boy, they have something here.
You could have shut the game off right then and there.
Yep.
You didn't need to see any more. You knew the game was in the bag, and you knew Shedeur had done something that had earned him the right.
It was 7-0, and I was like, that's ball game.
That's ball game.
That's going to be ball game.
Blouses, over.
And that's exactly what it ultimately ended up being. So good for him.
But Daryl, what I'm speaking to is the idea that it's going to take someone special. It's going to take someone different to break with this Browns quarterback curse has been.
And it's going to have to take someone out of left field, because here's the thing, and this is I have lamented this forever, and we've talked over the years about this. Mm-hmm. Everyone else in the NFL can find quarterbacks out of thin air except for the Cleveland Browns. I'm talking franchise quality, like the Browns, just for whatever reason, it escapes them. The ability to find their guy escapes them. And then, or when they think they found their guy, C. Baker, there are just circumstances that are involved with that just doesn't allow either party to continue together, and then we're back to square one. Or they throw all the chips to the middle of the table for someone who has an unseeming off the field, baggage, whatever, right? However you want to put that. And that's because they're desperate. They now go down that path, right? I am convinced. And this not only goes for the Guardians, it goes for the Browns. It took for the Cavaliers to win an NBA championship, an all-time historic comeback out of nowhere type of a situation, right? That just to win the one. They won one. LeBron was here for 11 years. They got one in the case. That's it. Out of 5 cracks at it, right? I am of the belief if the Guardians are ever going to win the World Series, it's going to come out of left field. It's going to come out of nowhere.
Almost did, 2016.
I know, but it's gonna have to be a transcendent type of a situation. Yeah. Same thing with the Browns. Like their franchise quarterback is gonna have to come out of nowhere, and that could be Shedeur Sanders. And I'm not trying to put that on this kid right away. All right,
it's still early. We can acknowledge that.
It's extremely premature. Even if he plays well over these final 6 weeks of the season, it's still premature to put that on his shoulders.
Yeah.
But like, I look at it. He says that yesterday, and I'm like, and then he plays the way he did. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this is just out of the blue, middle nowhere.
I mean, it didn't even cross his mind that he was going to fail yesterday, Daryl. And to say those comments, and the amount of people that would have replayed that after the fact, and the amount of people that were waiting, licking their lips, trying to get excited about the prospect of watching him not be able to perform and making him eat those words. I'm telling you. There's something different to the way that this guy, I've always seen it. There's something different to the way that this guy goes, and it's infectious. And I think other people do see that. I think the players see that as well. And it starts with comments like these that 99.9% of people wouldn't at 3 a.m. in their wildest dreams even think about making, and he doesn't hesitate to do so.
Yeah. So maybe he's their Tom Brady, right? Maybe. I'm not saying he's going to win.
They both wear 12, Daryl. Are we connecting some dots here?
I'm not saying he's going to win 6 Super Bowls here, but you know what I mean? Like, he's a 5th-round pick. He, at times, was projected to be an early first-rounder. No one wanted to touch him until the Browns traded up with Philadelphia to go get him, and let's be honest about it, it was a why not type of a scenario. And we got all we needed out of this draft. Why not? Let's go get Shedeur. Sure, no problem. If something happens there, great. If it flops, well, whatever. It's a 5th-round pick. Like, it happens. But maybe that he could ultimately end up being the guy. He's got a lot to prove. He's got to do it on the field. Yep. But I am convinced that the franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns isn't coming in the first round. It ain't coming in the top of the first round. It's coming out of nowhere. I firmly believe that, and maybe, just maybe, it's Shedeur Sanders. We'll see. He's got to show us.
Could be. 216-474 below 92. I want to play this other clip, and again, this is courtesy of CBS. Now, this one got you a little riled up, or at least thinking about things. Here it is.
I enjoyed it. Coming up here before y'all 6-7 months ago, I couldn't tell you I'll be here. God, the only way I'm able to even get through everything, being able to see my family, that was important, and I'm happy that I was here to be able to witness it. Everybody starts different places, and like I say, just because I didn't get the summer reps, just because I wasn't in the best situation, for me to be prepared to go out there and execute, like from a summer standpoint, that's how life is. Everybody's not in the best situation, but there's no excuse. You got to go out there and perform. Like, there's no choice, there's no question. Nobody cares if this was 1 week of prep. Who cares, So a lot of people want to see me fail, and it ain't going to happen.
Yeah,
what'd you take issue with?
I don't know that everybody wanted to see him fail. Yes, I will acknowledge there are people in the media sphere that would love nothing more than to see this kid fall flat on his face and be a bust. Yes, those people do exist in our business. I'm not one of them. I know you're not one of them. I know we got a lot of people at this station. We're not among them. There are some that are rooting against him. I will grant him that. But and part of this might be he's building the chip on his shoulder. 5th round pick, got passed on the draft by everyone at least 5 times, right?
Yeah.
So you got to build that motivation internally that he's got to have to fuel him. But I'm here to tell Shedeur, not everybody wants you to fail. Not everybody's rooting for you to fail. There isn't a single Browns fan right now that's rooting for you to fail. Okay?
No, we had fun. Sunday was fun.
Yes.
Who wouldn't want to do that again? We should want to do that every single Sunday. I'm with you. I think more people than not, especially as we came closer to it, I think more Browns fans than not came closer to that realization of like, oh, this is much better than Dillon Gabriel. This is at least an offense that can do something.
It took one throw.
It really did. The Isaiah Bond throw, it took one throw. And then it felt like everyone was uniting. Now, people are still in the comment sections, and they're still arguing over about just how good of a game that was and using all their, like, if I have to hear success rate one more time, I'm going to lose it. But, like, there are definitely some people that are making some, what I believe to be arguments against Shedeur that aren't operating in good faith.
Statistically, it was a dud of a game, statistically speaking. But from the eyeball test, rousing success.
Yeah.
And the eyeball test is what matters more than the stats. Oh, and yeah, the final score, too.
I told you, I got my scouting hat on. The hat is fake. The scouting is real. And we don't box score jockey when I have the scouting hat on. I decided last week we don't box score jockey. We don't do any of that. You're looking at me very seriously. None of this is supposed to be taken seriously, by the way.
I'm just imagining
none of it is supposed to be taken seriously.
I rarely have seen you wear a hat, and I'm just trying to picture you right now wearing a hat, wearing your scouting hat. You know what?
It's a scouting written right across it.
I think we just figured out what you can get for the upcoming holidays. We can get you a hat that just says Scout on it.
Yeah, but the hat wouldn't be fake then. The scouting is real. The hat is fake. That's the bit, Daryl. But if you want to get me a scouting hat, I will be more than happy to take it. And if you want to just give me a generic hat as well. As turned out from the Cleveland hockey team sending me the Cleveland Barons hat, I will wear any hat that anyone sends me.
Yeah.
Like if you want to know anything, I will wear any hat that anybody sends me. At least once. Maybe not twice.
By the way,
but I will wear any hat. With the exception of one that says curse words on it, I will wear any hat.
That was a nice hat they sent you, too.
Yeah, that was nice. I did like that one.
They said it felt different. There was some juice. And I think you go back to that throw to Isaiah Bond. The throw to Isaiah Bond, I think, was, if this all goes well, and, let's say Shedeur keeps playing well, and we keep playing well as a team, that throw was very pivotal because we've all seen the video of Miles on the sideline. When you get his eyes bugging out of his head, that gets people going. That's saying, wait a second, we haven't seen this in a while. Man, if we can have this along with what we're doing defensively, now we've got something. So there is a belief that all of a sudden we can go down the field quickly. We can hit big plays. We can score. We had a 52-yard pass, a 39-yard pass, a 66-yard catch and run pass in this game. I think that's huge. So, yeah, there is a different energy.
Browns analyst Nathan Zagura, he joined us last hour at his afternoon drive. Jonathan Peterlin and Daryl Ryder with you guys. Ohio's Tate of Barstool joining us in about 15 minutes or so. But, Daryl, you love that clip, and I think what that clip kind of showcases to a lot of fans is just how different it all seemed with Shedeur. And these are the type of things that even going back into his Colorado days, you know, in the scouting reports, people would be like, oh, it's just intangibles. That's awful when you're trying to then have a conversation with somebody that does scouting for a living, for instance, or any of those like Dane Brugler types that just focus on the film because they have such a hard time putting that into the proper context. But we saw it with Baker Mayfield. He had a lot of the intangibles, and I think Shedeur has a lot of them as well. You saw it. You noticed it. You pointed it out. On the sidelines, it was a different energy.
Yeah, it really was. And Nathan agreed with me. You heard there in the clip from our interview earlier in the show. But, yeah, I mean, the Myles Garrett reaction. Mm-hmm. Because knowing and understanding Myles the way I do, and where his deepest frustration with the organization lies, it's that they don't have a franchise quarterback. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not a team that's devoid of talent. And yes, we've gone through the roster of problems that they do have, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But this is not a tear this thing down to the studs, start over, scrap everything type of a roster.
Yeah.
They're legitimately a franchise quarterback away from, instead of being 3-8, maybe they're 8-3. And that's so unfortunate for them. But just the when I was sitting there yesterday watching the game at home, and they cut to Miles on the sideline, and I saw his reaction. I was like, yeah, there's going to be something here with this. However this thing plays out over the next
just as excitement.
2 hours.
Just the idea that he was so juiced up.
Just the excitement.
Oh, and that's why Stefanski today had to come out and say the way that he did. Because if he didn't, I think people like Myles Garrett would be like, what the hell's going on?
Right. I'm just saying, Jonathan, that was just one throw.
Yeah.
And it was because you don't see quarterbacks do that. He's rolling out to his right, looking down the field. He sees Bond, and he just lets it rip.
Yeah.
You don't see, and it was on target. Now, maybe just a smidge more air under if you want to be super critical so that Bond then can just catch it and waltz into the end zone.
Sounds a little too super critical.
Well, no, I know. And that's why I said what I said. Because I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, like, if you really,
I don't want to. I want to just accept that it was a really good throw, and I'm happy about it.
Phenomenal throw. And like we said, the longest pass plays of the season occurred yesterday with Shedeur at quarterback. So, but
it's just different, Daryl. And you've been at every single game. It's different than when it was with Dylan. It felt like it was The Walking Dead on the sidelines.
Yeah, like you saw the difference in the energy. The last home game, I'm like looking at the sideline in the first half, and it's just there's no energy. Then Shedeur comes in the second half. People are buzzing around on the sideline all of a sudden.
Yeah, and you hear Ross, by the way, like during these games, being like, and we just saw him go up and talk to this member of the offensive line, and then this member of the offensive line, and like he's doing obviously the convos with Deshaun, and he's getting everything that way. But in the meanwhile, he's also gassing everybody up and getting everyone where they need to be, and it's just not something we heard with Dylan or even saw with Dylan.
The last Browns quarterback to do that was Jameis Winston. But the problem there is wonderful as he is, and I love watching him have the success with the Giants right now, and all that's all well and good. But he would make too many mistakes on the field and get too careless with the ball, and so
that is part of the problem, right? Like you have to, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk,
right? And so if you're going to be the energy guy, you've got to back it up with positive plays and wins. And we saw yesterday in Vegas that's what Shedeur did. He backed it up with positive plays, and they won the game. And so now that energy really multiplies going into this week. There's confidence now amongst everyone. Hey, this guy can win. Okay, the stats weren't great. We weren't great on third down. We can improve there. Like, we can pick apart some of the negatives and flip around, but this guy can help us win football games. And I think that knowledge within that locker room not only boosts his cachet, right? Because he's such an energy guy. He always has a smile on his face, is always very positive, right? Now that multiplies within the locker room, and if he can keep going out there and making plays and they can win a couple of games, I'm telling you, Jonathan, something special could happen with this kid. And I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse here, but that's how this happens.
It
happens organically. You can't force it. It was great that Shedeur went on CBS before the game and said, yeah, I'm the guy you've been looking for. That's all well and good. You got to back it up. And he knows that. And he backed it up yesterday. Now let's see if he can back it up next weekend against the 49ers.
No question about it.